Welcome to Brain Health Matters, a podcast dedicated to helping you connect with the people and resources that will help you improve your memory, boost your brain, and reduce the risk of developing dementia. This week, we delve for the first time into plant medicine and learn how we can use the power of CBD for a healthier brain. Stay tuned.
Brain Health Matters is brought to you by Don't Let the Memories Fade. Learn many enjoyable ways to enhance body, mind, and spirit with simple lifestyle changes that will help you improve your memory and your mind. You can create a healthier, more vibrant future with Don't Let the Memories Fade. Available in ebook and paperback on Amazon everywhere.
Hello there, and welcome to this edition of Brain Health Matters. I'm your host, Kate Kunkel, and today I'm joined by Darlene Mea. Darlene is a long-standing media personality in the world of alternative everything, representing all things natural, sustainable, and life-promoting. Darlene has personally been involved with plant medicine for wellness her entire life, and now counsels those wanting to discover the powers of cannabis and other plant medicines for long-term natural healing and evolutionary benefits. Thank you so much for joining us, Darlene.
And thank you so much for inviting me, Kate. This is an honor.
Darlene and I have known each other, 20 years or so, I guess. It's been a long time. And it's an honor to be able to have you back on the show. Darlene, we've never covered this topic before. And so we're going to just jump right in because I'm sure people are going to have a lot of questions and be very curious. First, what's the difference between hemp and cannabis?
Well, so we'll start with cannabis is what is inside of both plants. They are cousins. So hemp marijuana, which we know is marijuana, is the plant that's for medicine. And when you look at it, you can tell because it's a big giant plant with many leaves. Hemp, on the other hand, is a long, thin plant that looks like a very tall weed. And its purposes are for basically two things. The hemp seed is super high in omegas and in protein. So it's excellent source for omega-3s and protein in our body, like the highest source there is. And tennis shoes, houses, concrete, biofuel, supercapacitors. Hemp is the strongest fiber on the planet. So it should be used for industrial purposes. Cannabis, marijuana, its cousin, is for medicine.
Oh.
So when you hear the difference, when they talk about hemp right now in today's world, basically because of what happened back in the early 1900s, when they took hemp and marijuana out of everything, and made it a Schedule I drug. Coming back into the market, they couldn't say now, okay, marijuana is okay. So they created a couple strains of marijuana called CBD. And they call it hemp CBD because if they called it marijuana CBD, people would still be scared. But it basically, all the CBDs and the CBNs and the CBCs are all cannabinoids from the marijuana plant. Not the hemp plant. The hemp is primarily seeds and industry.
Okay. So hemp seeds then, the really big thing now, you see it in the health food stores, hemp seeds, hemp milk, hemp everything. So even though it's not a quote medicinal plant, so to speak, it has medicine in it because of all of those wonderful things.
Absolutely. It still has the cannabinoids, but it comes through the seeds in the hemp. And so that's why they make hemp seed oil and hemp milk. That comes from the hemp seeds. They're very nutty. People put the hemp seeds on their salads and things. Super good for us. Yes. But it's not CBD. Hemp CBD is a fallacy.
So that's really interesting because you and I had this conversation privately. My husband has COPD and he just recently got CBD oil. On the little bottle, it says from hemp. But now he got another bottle yesterday that says from cannabis or from marijuana. It says on the bottle from marijuana. So those are two different substances then?
Yes. Well, did it say CBD
It
from
says
marijuana, or did it say full spectrum?
it says full spectrum.
Okay. So that's what we were having that conversation privately about that, because the CBD, again, is one cannabinoid from the marijuana plant that they made a separate strain. They grew that one cannabinoid. And again, since people are afraid of marijuana, they called it hemp CBD.
Oh.
It's only one cannabinoid. Marijuana has hundreds of cannabinoids, right? For all kinds of things. That's why we have receptors for cannabinoids, not one cannabinoid. So when he bought this one yesterday, when it said full spectrum, that's because it is marijuana. It has all the cannabinoids in it, which is what our body wants, not one.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, then hopefully this will have better results because he found that the other one just really wasn't helping at all with his condition. So we'll see what happens here. And this, folks who are listening and watching, this is one of the reasons I was so anxious to talk about this on Brain Health Matters, because conditions like COPD and others cause risk factors. They are risk factors for dementia. And whatever we can do to avoid that, we're going to do, right? So
Yes.
thanks for that explanation, Darlene. That's really helpful. And it's everywhere. Like you see CBD oil, but often it will say hemp. So that's a good thing for people to know if they really want to be able to get the benefits from this substance.
Right. If they really want to get the benefits, they should definitely go with full spectrum cannabis.
Okay, that's
Period.
great to know.
Period. Yeah.
So back in 2020, the WHO, the World Health Organization, declassified cannabis as a dangerous drug. You were talking about it being classified back in the early 1900s. What difference do you think that this declassification then might make for people with things like chronic pain or cancer?
Well, certainly if it's declassified in their state, well, then they should start using it. People didn't do it because they could go to jail for it. And obviously people have gone to jail for years, but them declassifying it, and unfortunately it's not declassified on a federal level. So it's a state by state thing right now here in the US. And so for cancer, people are definitely moving to cannabis for that. And what I have found out, again, is if it's legal in your state, grow it. Grow it, grow it. If you can grow 3 plants, grow 3 plants. They now have indoor plants. Juicing the leaves is getting just full cannabinoids into your receptors, and that is super healthy for you, right? And so that's, and if people Google it, they go on YouTube and it's like juicing cannabis for cancer. There's all kinds of things that come up. The benefits of juicing cannabis, all kinds for chronic everything, because it will heal your system. Right? It's like it's a plant. That life or God or whoever you believe in, creation has it here for our healing purposes. And unfortunately, because Big Pharma couldn't make money from it, it went out the window until literally, Kate, they have been studying this. I don't know if I mentioned, in Israel for the last 50 years, the benefits of cannabis in health. So we know all of this. The United States has patents. They know forever that cannabis was good for us. They couldn't figure out how to make money, which is why they came in with the CBD, because it's like, again, they can't say, oh, marijuana is now good for you. They can go, oh, CBD, hemp, right? And so so that's kind of their introduction, pharmaceutical, into the market for this. However, you don't have to do anything. I think it's best that we grow our own if you can. And if not, there's a lot of growers that you can, again, people are not that engaged in doing things. So if you don't have someone that is close to you that can make the medicine, say, I don't really like the gummy bears, those things, because they're high in sugar. So that's kind of defeating the purpose. Why would we do that? I'll have a brownie. It's like, no. I think on the market now, they actually sell liquid cannabis. And I have friends that will just put it into their juice and drink it. we make it, and that's why I said if people grow it, they could almost start creating their own medicine.
Sure. Well, that's the truth of so many things, right? If we've got our hands on those plants, whatever they may be, whether it's marijuana or dandelion, you can make
Right.
stuff that helps you feel better, and it can actually help reverse symptoms and reverse disease. But yeah, there's no money in dandelions or marijuana leaves, right?
Right. Right. Exactly.
Which is
Which is
such a
good.
shame.
I know. Well, it's great because for us, it's priceless. So, most people have been so dependent on outside world taking care of us. It's like at some point we need to take care of ourselves. It's not that difficult.
I am so glad to hear you say that. Here I'm in the brain health space, and I go to places like the Alzheimer's Association website or the dementia support website, and all I see there is there's no treatment for it. There are, just make yourself comfortable, get your affairs in order, and, improve quality of living. That makes me a little bit crazy because I'm training under the Bredesen Recode. We talk about mindfulness, we talk about diet, and why shouldn't these medicinal plants be part of that diet?
Well, they definitely should. They definitely should. In fact, that article that you were referring to, so this is my company, Hempington Post, right? And we do all things hemp. So if anyone wanted to go in there and they wanted to find out about wellness, you click on that wellness tab and everything that you can do with cannabis or hemp comes up in there. This one is actually that cannabidiol improves the blood flow of the hippocampus, right? Is that how you say that?
Yeah, where the
Right?
brain, your memories are.
Right. So it says that it increases the blood flow, and that's an important area of the brain that's associated with memory, emotion, right? Alzheimer's, post-traumatic stress disorder, like all these different things that it will help calm. Well, actually what it does is it calms your complete inflammation system. So when our body is not like in high stress all the time because of worry or all of our emotion, it just relaxes the mind, relaxes the body, and you can start thinking clearly again. It's so good that it's really a shame that for the last 80 years it's been taken out of our reality, and they've built huge hospitals, right? And unfortunately, all the elderly are getting dementia and Alzheimer's because they have the fear, right? The younger people probably won't. I haven't. My brain is good, and I think I mentioned I had meningitis, so I had to heal my left brain from being pretty much nothing, no memory at all, back to full focus and, completely here, complete cognition, because I continued to, keep my plant medicine going, and it healed. I actually watched it happen, and I could go on about this. It's highly fascinating. Because we make the medicine, we share it with people who have had strokes and other brain injuries and that are coming on with Parkinson's, right? And it's like this, again, relaxes the inflammation system so that you're not like so jittery all the time.
Wow, I didn't realize that it helped with Parkinson's as well, the tremors then.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
And so many people, I just today, I had two people that I was counseling on something else tell me about relatives who were struggling with tremors. And of course, I recommend sound therapy because I do that as well. But I had no idea that the cannabis could help with that. So when you say you make the medicine, do you mean like a tincture or oil or a liquid? What?
Yeah, we call it an elixir. So we grow organic cannabis, and then my partner is an herbal formulator. So it's really basically cannabis and some vegetable glycerin. And so it goes down very easy. It's like honey, oil, and you can just feel it like relaxing you.
That's so That's so awesome. So I want to go back to that article you talked about with the brain changes because in the it was the hippocampus, but I think also it said something about the frontal lobe, which is where our executive function comes into play. So if we've got a healthier, happier frontal lobe, we're also going to be able to make better decisions that will also
Right.
affect our brain.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. And it does. I mean, to me, cannabis is a total why not in life. You know, people drink alcohol and it's like, yes, you can do that, but you can also relax with cannabis and have no hangover. So you're not losing days because you wanted to drink, right? You just, just
Yeah, that's one of the things that I used to talk about a lot when I lived in Canada before. Now, in Canada, all across the country, that marijuana is legal, so that's a good thing. Many other things aren't there, but that is. But I could never figure out how it is that people were allowed to buy alcohol and not marijuana because to me, there was no difference except that I never saw anybody who was high on pot because they could get high on pot. I never saw
right.
anybody get violent, but I saw many violent drunk people. So I don't know whether that's part of what it does in the brain. I would love to know that.
Well, you know, it's truly, it's life plant for the people. And so it's here to nourish us. And when we're being nourished, right, and there's not a chemical in it, then we're happier people. You know, I don't know any rowdy people that ingest marijuana. I think, honest to God, Kate, I think anyone who is capable of ingesting cannabis should. And I want to say not everyone can. I used to think that everybody's body is the same. It's completely not the same. I mean, every body is different, and so people, you know, should definitely give themselves an opportunity to try cannabis. Whatever delivery system works for them. If they smoke, then smoke it. But when you smoke it, you have we also have receptors in our head. So it will ignite those receptors, right? And give us that euphoric high, which is really wonderful for those who like that. When you eat it, it doesn't go through the blood-brain barrier. It goes into our organs, and which is why it just relaxes all of our inflammation system. And you're not getting a head high at much. I'll say much. You certainly are relaxing. Um,
Well, for a lot of people, since they can't relax, that's probably not such a bad thing.
it's a, it's a fabulous thing. And again, if you took the fear out of cannabis, right, and the old paradigm, if you smoke cannabis, reefer madness, you're going to go crazy because it's the opposite in today's research. It's now, again, it's good for the brain, where back then it was bad, right? So I figure we should just listen to none of them and do our own research, right? And if it's natural from the ground and from life, it's probably going to be good for us. You know, and again, at this point in our life with so much stress going on in the world, it's a why not. It's like, why wouldn't I? Let's see, it's healthy. When I give people our medicine, it's like, this is a vitamin. You take this every day because it is good for our body and we feel good. So then it's a why not? Why wouldn't you? You know, why would you want to be in stress for any reason? You know, and then you go to the doctors and they will fill you up on every kind of pill, and then you need a pill for that pill and that pill, and then pretty soon you don't want to deal with any of it. And I think that's why a lot of people go away in their head. It's too much.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And there's no discussion, unfortunately, in many offices, allopathic offices, about the interactions when there's one drug and there's another drug, and maybe one doctor's offering this one and another doctor's offering this one, so we have a problem. Now, on the other hand, if somebody were to take cannabis and they were to mix it with other drugs, we have another situation there. So I think in the interest of fairness to people who might be considering this, they really want to know what other things, the effects of the other things that they may be taking, like an antidepressant, for example.
Right. But right. I've watched people get off opiates with cannabis. So I tell people, they're like, oh, my medication. It's like, do it anyway. This has nothing to do with your medication whatsoever. What you're going to find is, oh, I don't really need that medication. I don't need that. I mean, the doctors load you up on way more medication than you ever could possibly need, ever, ever, ever.
I remember someone saying we don't have a deficiency of opiates, like our bodies don't have opiate deficiencies, so we don't really don't need to replenish them. But anyway, in the interest of being cautious for some people, if they are on many medications, they do need to consider that because there can be either improved or I guess enhanced reaction to those medications or less. So it's something that one has to be very careful for. I'm saying that as a brain health professional who doesn't want anybody to get into trouble by taking off medication or putting too much in or whatever. So that's just a medical.
A little disclaimer, but my other disclaimer is if you talk to your doctor, they don't even know you have an endocannabinoid system. So if you're going to talk to your doctor, say, do you know we have an endocannabinoid system? And then they go look at you, then you might not want to ask that question. Should I smoke cannabis? Because they'll say, no, right? So, right. So I think, again, we're adults. This is life's plant. It's okay to experiment. And when you experiment at nighttime, right? Like the end of the day, you don't have to do anything. Take a little bit of cannabis. How does that feel for me? How does that, and a lot of times in the beginning, people will feel like, oh, I feel a little woozy. That's okay, because it's never killed anyone. It's never it's never killed anyone ever has died from cannabis. So you can't do anything but feel a little weird, and it's okay if you're in the presence of your own home, feel a little weird. It's okay.
You make it into smoothies or juice it. So that would probably be a really safe way to do it so that you could try firstly getting all the nutrients of a plant. Yeah. You're getting green plants.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Juicing it is great. And the thing in juicing, when you heat cannabis, that is when the psychotropic effect comes in.
Right.
So if you're just juicing it, then you're just getting the nutrients from the cannabinoids without any of the THC.
Perfect.
Because, right. So then they start with juicing it. But again, I would highly suggest, and anyone, just consider you do not have to be afraid of this at all, at all. And as you know, it takes many things. Like when you talk about music is phenomenal for your brain. It's like if people, and I hope you encourage this all the time, if people listen to an hour of classical every day, changes you.
Yes, it does. It actually changes the structure of your brain. It actually changes your brain. So yeah, absolutely.
The other part that's also good, that's now becoming new science, is the whole mushroom therapy, the whole mushroom psilocybin magic mushroom therapy, along with all of the mushrooms, right?
I talk about mushrooms, just regular old mushrooms, in my books because they are chock full of nutrients that we need all over the body, but they're especially good for the brain. And there are a couple of them that can actually reduce the incidence of some of the proteins that cause Alzheimer's, that are the symptoms of Alzheimer's. So we do know that regular mushrooms, are excellent. You directed me to a movie about the fabulous fungi. Is that what it was called?
Right. Fantastic fungi. Yeah.
That was it. So tell us a little bit about what came up in that movie about how it changed the brains of our ancestors.
Well, they feel like actually that it was because of magic mushrooms that life evolved at all on this planet. Mushrooms have been around since the beginning of time. Well, what it does in our brain is that connects and restores neurotransmitters and creates new neural pathways. So again, me with someone like that had meningitis, it was extremely important that I create new neural pathways and repair some of those neural connectors because I couldn't put things together, right? So microdosing mushrooms over the last couple of years has allowed me to get all full function. But that's what the studies are right now. In New York, they just built a $10 million facility to study psychedelics, mushroom therapy, right? In Oregon, of course, it's completely legal. And so the whole idea now is that mushrooms are waking people up, really. And it's phenomenal for brain health and PTSD and all the chronic, it's almost like cannabis, but cannabis has we have receptors in our body for cannabinoids, and then mushrooms really take care of the brain. I mean, it's just such a brain plant medicine that, again, in today's world, it is becoming the thing. And for someone like me and the people in my world, we're amazed because we didn't think it would happen in our lifetime, because it seems like everyone's been trying to repress anything that will make the human being flourish, right? It's like that's always been illegal, and now all of a sudden it's all becoming legal. So we all have the opportunity to take care of ourselves. And again, after 65, people retire. I mean, that's a lot of where the brain starts declining because they don't have a reason to even get out of bed, right? So when you're doing mushroom therapy, all of a sudden, or cannabis, all of a sudden you have these, oh, well, I'll do that. And like all of a sudden you have new life. It literally is an evolutionary thing for us to do. It's kind of, anyone with their right mind would be like, should be going, I want that because I want to think more, not think. It's not even a thinking thing, Kate. It's a creative flow that just starts moving through us. And you're able to release addictions with both cannabis and mushroom therapy. You start thinking different. You're like, yeah, that's really not good for me. I'm not doing that anymore, right? So these are big deals. And stroke victims that are on their couch all of a sudden are like, I think I'll get up. I think I'll go for a walk. I think and you start thinking differently. And that's so powerful.
That was the word I was going to just use now, powerful, because we do know that retirement is a risk factor for dementia. People who retire often just sink in no time, like within months. They lose so much cognition. So having something that would inspire them to learn, to grow, to do different things. We want to be able to make better decisions. We want to be able to make new decisions, face new things. Right. So whatever it is that can encourage that. We also know that if you have a sad or distressed opinion of aging, that will make you age faster, number one, but it will also make your brain go away faster. So having something that gives you a different outlook on life is also going to be good, right?
Really, you're choosing, do I want to live or do I want to go down slowly or quickly, or right? We don't want to do that.
We have the power. And I think what I would like people to come away from with this interview is that we have choices now that we didn't have even 10 years ago, right? We have choices that we can make, certainly in the United States and Canada. Even here in Ecuador, you're allowed to have, I think it's 3 plants as well. But there are choices, and we have the ability to make big differences in our futures by taking advantage of what we have naturally. I mean, I'm near the Amazon. Look at look at all of the amazing plants that are there that are 4-hour taking, unless somebody bulldozes them to dig for oil.
Right.
But
right.
another topic there completely. But Mother Nature was very, very generous, and it seems that we're just now being able to tap into her love and generosity again.
And for the elderly, like we are, like I am now, right? I would consider myself, well, I'm 65 plus, so that's considered senior. We could have another 30 years of life, and I'll be damned. It's like we worked our whole life and we get to this point. And look at you and I as a 65 plus. we haven't stopped. We're not stopping. And it's not because, and it's not even work anymore, what we're doing. It's like we're doing what we love, and that's because our brains are active. I think that, again, unfortunately, so many people have been so conditioned, and I just want to say, please don't be afraid to try. You know, if some of us can do it and we look healthy and it looks like it's working, and then it probably could work for obviously others. And therefore it's reaching out to Kate, you know, reach out to me. It's like we can help kind of, I'm happy to help consult people, and I do it all the time, so that it'll take the fear out of just try, and then allow yourself to start becoming a new person. You know, we're not who we were anymore. We're living in a completely different new world. I mean, nothing is the same as when we grew up at all. And so to stay with the times, either we stay with the times or we stay in our house and go into fear with everything that's going on, and bye-bye.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't do it, but you can do it because now there are ways. And meditation, you know, and I'm not just saying plant medicine is the only way, obviously, because I juice every day, I run every day, I meditate every day, I eat well. I really am conscious that this is my life. There's nobody else that is going to take care of it for us. Nobody's going to take care of our life. It's up to us. And if we're going to depend on a doctor, he's going to take you out. They will. They do. They do. You count on the doctor. It's like, well, I've had that doctor forever. And I'm like, then I'd fire him, because you don't need a doctor forever. Like, why do you need a doctor forever? Like,
You know, that's a very good point. And I just love what you said, that, you know, eating properly, juicing, exercising, having a good social life with friends that support you, you know, trying new things, even if it's new food or trying a cannabis, whatever it is, trying something new will make you younger. It always does. I'm learning the ukulele. You know, I'm a harpist, and here I am learning the ukulele, I guess is the way it's pronounced. But it's
Nice.
something new. It's something different, and we need
Yeah.
to do that to keep our brains active. And making good decisions is a big part of that. And if clearing up some of the old fog and the fear comes into that, then new decisions it will be.
Yeah. Well, you know, again, this is our life, and it's our responsibility. And we, you know, if you don't live in fear, it's amazing.
Honestly, that is the perfect place to end this conversation, Darlene. It has been wonderful and inspirational. And how
Thank
can
you.
people work with you?
Well, you can reach out at Darlene at hempingtonpost.com. That's my email. If you just do that, and it's right, Darlene at Hempington Post. I'm sure you can have that somewhere.
Yes.
But yeah, they definitely, and if they do, I am happy. Again, I counsel people all the time to take that fear base and let them get started. And it's been fabulous. It's been so fabulous. The reports I get back from people that have never tried this.
There are many, many options out there. And lifestyle is the big thing that we have control over. You know, we don't have control over too much out there, but we certainly have it over our own lifestyle and our own decisions. And that can make a huge difference to our brains and to our life. Thank you, Darlene.
Thank you, Kate.
You've been listening to the Brain Health Matters podcast, created and hosted by Kate Kunkel. You'll find more episodes along with the latest brain health research on our website at brainhealthmatters.today. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and if there's a topic you'd like to learn more about, let us know. We'll see if we can't find someone who can talk about it. And your help getting the word out is also appreciated by writing a review, subscribing, or sharing our podcast. Thanks again for joining us. See you next week.
You have 86 billion reasons to go vegan, and they're all resting right between your ears. That's right, 86 billion neurons that make up the master controller we call our brains. And while they're in control, our lifestyle choices determine how well they work, and that means we must nurture and protect them. The best way to do that? With a whole foods vegan diet that nurtures not just the physical, but also the emotional, mental, and spiritual brain. In the vegan brain, you'll learn how whole plant foods can nurture the healthiest version of yourself, and, perhaps more importantly, how your choices can reduce suffering for countless animals and help create a more compassionate, sustainable world. The Vegan Brain Second Edition also includes nutritious recipes and meal plans so that your journey towards a kinder, healthier future will be easy and delicious. Available in ebook format on Amazon.